Hello and welcome to another Nitecore store video. My name is Josh and today I have something a little bit different for you. I'm going to be telling you 3 reasons why I love to carry the Nitecore P20iX. So with all that being said, please make sure to like and subscribe and let's get into the video. So before we get into this video, I want to clarify why I even carry a high-powered flashlight with me. I carry this light with me every day in my backpack and then every night in my pocket. And so for you to understand why this is so essential to my EDC, I found this awesome Business Insider interview with an ex-Navy SEAL, so check it out.
My friends and family are always asking me how to be better prepared. The biggest thing I think, advice I can give women especially, is to carry a high-power flashlight. A 1,000 lumen flashlight. That small one you buy for $100 on Amazon. You have to spend the money, but a high lumens flashlight that will blind an assailant in the daytime or at night is the best investment you can make.
But no matter what you carry, I feel like carrying a high-powered flashlight with you is a no-brainer. Now, the 3 reasons I carried the P20iX with me is the beam, the Tacticallity, and the Practicality. So let me explain. So first on my points is the beam. The beam is awesome. It's super flooded and bright. How bright, you might ask? Well, the turbo is 4,000 lumens, and at room temperature, it seems like the ATR kicks in at around 30 seconds and then begins to slowly step down. Just in terms of usage scenarios, I like turbo if you really need a lot of brightness really quick. The pedal makes it super easy to get to, or if somebody is coming at you or you just want to let somebody know that you have a high-powered flashlight, that turbo is probably going to be your best option. And then the higher setting has an output of 1,700 lumens, and I like this for more so things that go bump in the night. If something's scaring me while I'm on my walk, it's pretty easy to just have the memory mode preset to it and be able to look at it that way and just have a lot of brightness really quick. And then the high setting on this flashlight is going to be 850 lumens, which I really like. That's my go-to mode because I have the higher and turbo settings pretty quickly, but it's not going to drain the battery too quick. And then your medium output is going to be at 300 lumens, which I really like as a work light. I was working at camp recently in the sound booth, and being able to have 300 lumens as a flood was great to work with, where it was bright enough to see what I was doing and make sure that I was getting all the intricate details of what I was trying to see, but not bright enough to where I was distracting other people around me. And then the low mode is going to be 50 lumens, which I really appreciate for just a super low house light at night if you need to get up and go to the bathroom, pour yourself a drink of water. I really like having that, access to that. And that could also extend to the 2 lumen mode, but also I just like the 2 lumen modes. That way I can actually look at the LEDs, make sure that all of them are on without, damaging my eyesight. Now, my use for this flashlight is just being a flashlight's flashlight, if that makes any sense. Whenever I go out and get beam shots, I always bring this so that way it's easier for me to navigate without using the battery of the flashlight that I'm demonstrating. Either way, my usage of this light usually hovers around the mid, high, and higher outputs of this light, which makes me wish that it had slightly dimmer output because it feels super bright, but also the battery can wear down pretty quickly as this thing just eats up the 21700 inside of it. And so I wish that it may have been a little bit dimmer so that way I could have more runtime, but I'll be in the creek for 2 or 3 hours and this will not drop below 25%. And so by no means is it a short flashlight, but I just really would like a little bit better runtime. I also love the beam shape of this light. Whenever I use it, my entire field of view is completely lit up, and I know that that's why this light is also popular with law enforcement. And an allegory I like to use is the P35i with the LEP. That's a sniper rifle. I don't need that in the city. And then I would say maybe the P23i is an assault rifle. You have medium range with a little bit of flood. It's good, but again, I don't need that in a city. This then would be a shotgun because even though it has decent range, it's not made for range. It's made for just getting as much light around you as possible. And that's something that I really like and enjoy in an urban setting, and I just don't need to see what's more than 2 football fields ahead of me. This has 241 yards of throw. Also, again, I really appreciate the fact that this lights up my peripherals because if I'm walking down into the creek, then anything over here will also be lit up. You can see my hand being lit up and I'm pointing the light in a perpendicular angle. being able to see things that I do not have like my direct focus on is really nice, because as well, if it's an animal that could hurt me, like we have snakes, I'm sure that there's a rabid cat in Austin somewhere. Jesus. Also, if you're wondering what type of LEDs it uses 4 Cree XP L2 V6s, which is just a very powerful LED. Lastly on the beam, I want to talk about the tint. It has a very blue tint, which I really like. I can understand some people wanting a warmer light so that way it has more contrast, but I personally really like the blue light just because it makes things feel more like daytime. And our eyes are built for daylight, which is what this CCT, the color temperature, is more close to. Also, blue light has been proven to keep you awake and more alert. And so having this on a tactical flashlight, it just makes sense. So that, because when are you most likely to use a flashlight? At night. And so this makes a lot of sense, especially when you consider how this light is built tactical. And speaking of tactical, first take a look at this bezel. This has 3 inlaid glass breakers, and it just makes me feel protected. Because again, what's the point of having your peripherals, in your view if you can't protect yourself? And so this, being able to break glass and also be able to do damage to someone if they're, not in the best headspace and trying to come at you, is very helpful. Also, this bezel is stainless steel, which means it's not a one and done flashlight after you break through some glass or something like that. I've dropped this flashlight so many times on rock, on concrete, in the water even, and the most damage that it's taken is a couple of chips to the finish. So trust me, this flashlight is durable. I'm also a big fan of this instant strobe pedal, as even when the light's off, you have instant access to strobe, and while the light's on, all you have to do is triple tap it, and you can also get to strobe. Both of these ways are super easy to get to in stressful situations. The strobe on this light is randomly changing, so it always changes the frequency at which it strobes, meaning that it's really hard to look at and focus on what you're doing. So if I was attacking somebody and I saw that they had this is just not something that I would want to look at or be near. This thing is also pretty dang durable, as it's IP68 waterproof and dustproof, as well as drop resistant, meaning that no matter what the paces you put it through, it's going to survive pretty easily. And lastly, for the practicality of this light, how often are you going to be using this light? And for me, the answer is a lot. This thing is only 5.57 inches long, and it's only a hair over 4 ounces, so it's super easy for me at least to carry around. And adding on to that portability, it has 2 trenches where you can attach your clip. So if you want to carry it bezel up or tail switch up, it doesn't matter, it can carry that way. This light is also one-hand operable, and it's pretty much what you see is what you get, where you can turn it on and then you can change it using the mode pedal. It's pretty simple as a UI, and I'm glad that it's lightweight as well as one-hand operable, because you operate it with your thumb, meaning that you have to carry it pretty much over here by your head. You can't like side switch it. And so the fact that it's lightweight really complements the fact that it's one-hand operable, because of all the times that I've carried this around, I've never got tired of just having this light, up close to my head, close to my eyes, wherever I'm like seeing around. And then of course, because it's one-hand operable, it keeps my other hand free to, check my pocket, be able to look at my phone, or, look at what I'm looking at, what I'm shining the flashlight at. And it just makes me feel professional whenever I'm using it. It feels clean to use. It feels like they've really thought through the design. Because a lot of times whenever there's a tail switch, side switch combo, I always feel a little bit awkward, like hitting the tail switch and then having to swap it over in my hand to get to the side switch. And so being able to have it all on the tail switch is super nice, and I really appreciate it. Another reason this is big with law enforcement, and a feature that I like, is the roll stop. I have some B-roll footage of that right here. But basically, it makes it to where it's hard to roll on slanted surfaces. And so if you click it on and then you set it like on the hood of your car or something like that, it's not gonna be rolling off because it's a slanted surface. Now, I have a clip, so I don't really have to worry about it rolling off anything, as this acts as an even bigger roll stop. However, if you carry it in a holster without a clip, then this is a super nice design to have, This light is also USB-C rechargeable, which is really nice because even though it uses a lithium-ion battery, not everyone has a lithium-ion battery charger, surprisingly. And so USB-C, it's everywhere. But also because this thing just sucks so much power, it's really nice that they include like the fact that it's not integrated. And so you can always just replace it with a spare battery if you're needing more power in the field. And lastly, this light is subtle and cool and just kind of great for everyone. Because again, if I were to hand this to somebody, they could probably figure out how all the modes work in roughly a minute. Just because of the, again, like I said, the simple 2-switch design. But also I like how it's not crazy looking. It has all the features, but it's compact and it's pretty sleek. Because like looking at the Olight Warrior X, that light looks super aggressive. And while it has good outputs and everything like that, it's really hard for me to like take it on a camping trip and not get somebody looking at me a little bit weird because it's so aggressive looking. This has pretty much all the same features as that, but it looks sleeker and it's a little bit more, you know, socially acceptable. So why do I carry the Nitecore P20iX? Well, first, 4,000 lumens is insanely bright for a turbo, and then 1,700 lumens is no slouch for a high consistent mode. It has a wide beam pattern, which I really enjoy for all my city exploits. I like being able to see what's around me and be able to know that I'm safe just because my entire vicinity is lit up. The stainless steel strike bezel makes sure that this is not a one-off, and I think that this light is pretty affordable for all the value that it gives me back. And again, just the firepower of this light is more than enough. And that wraps up the video. I have links in the description to go check out the P20iX. I really recommend that you do. And again, I appreciate you watching me nerd out about this light in a less structured function. So please make sure that you like the video and you subscribe so that way I can do this again. And I will see y'all in the next one.